Welcome back, Habibi Albi. I've got a special cracker, yummy update for you. This actually made me laugh. Donald Trump has said he's going to delay the 50% tariffs on the estrogen union until July 9. So I burst out into laughter as soon as I saw that. I'm like, damn it, Donnie. You bought the dip again, didn't you? It's kind of funny, friends. Like, do you remember, friends, I made a post. Uncle Peter Schiff actually said while the tariff happened, he was very suspicious of it. And I've actually got the tweet here for you now. Kind of very topical. Look what Uncle Peter Schiff said this as soon as Trump said, you know what, Europe, you're going to hell. As soon as he said it, Uncle Peter Schiff. Trump just threatened to impose 50% tariffs on imports from Europe, much higher than what Americans pay to import goods from China. The skeptic in me thinks this is just market manipulation, giving insiders opportunities to trade before the tariffs are called off with a fake win. So it's kind of funny. I said, hey, Uncle Peter Schiff, you're right. You know what was interesting, friends? You know, as I posted that, some of you baby dolls in my Telegram, he said, but Sammy, like, you're a bit confused because they go, wait, how come Uncle Peter Schiff, who sometimes watches my channel, funny enough, shout out to you, Uncle Peter Schiff, how come Uncle Peter Schiff is like contrarian like that, and then he like totally fades crypto? I don't know, friends. I don't know. See, Uncle Peter Schiff, when he sees the crypto bubble, there's one thing he's missing. He says we are like too obsessed and there's too many people in crypto. There isn't, Habib. No one's in crypto, bro. Look at the market cap. Crypto is only 3 trillion. There's 150 trillion in stocks. That's why we're like, I tell Uncle Peter Schiff, you think stocks are a bubble. They're 150 trillion. Bro, we're 3 trillion. We're nothing, okay? But he always says, there's no value. There's no value. And then I have to gently, kindly tell Uncle Peter Schiff, the difference is, Uncle Peter Schiff, we now live in a digital world where our concept of money now is stored in networks, okay? We did not have this 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. The world is globalized. Traveling from country to country is going to get easier over time. It gets faster over time. You know, we also have bank accounts linking everywhere, crypto, making everything more digital. Pretty much, friends, the barriers of the world are dropping down. That's what's happening over time. You can even look at the stock market, Amazon, Google, McDougal, Apple. They're international and global. So effectively what's happening is when you see a stock, even just a stock, right, it's not like, oh, an American company. It is now. It is basically giving you a piece of the pie of the world. It's a network. And that's what crypto is. The thing is that actually that burns Uncle Peter Schiff is the concept of money. Because in the past, people would hold on to gold because you can eventually use it for something. The thing though is, see, gold's the oldest network effect in the world, friends. It's an analog network effect. Okay, because you could use it anywhere, any space, any place, right? Man, I remember even there's a story. I think it was, who was it? That's right. It was Good Dad, Poor Dad. What was his name? Robert Kiyosaki. That's right. Good Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So he was, the first time he learned about gold, he said was in like Vietnam, and he went to, it was like one of the Vietnamese villages. And they said, I think one of like the rice field workers or somewhere there, you know, they wanted to, he basically, I think he either needed money or they wanted to sell him gold. And then they had gold, and it was pretty much, I've got how much it was worth back then. Maybe it was like only $200 an ounce or whatever. And he said something like, I'll give you $50. Because he thought, you know, you're a poor village worker in the rice fields. And he basically said this worker basically had no teeth and just smiled at him and told him to go and get stuffed. And so that was basically, because they had gold, right? And because he didn't understand what that was. He's like, get out of here, bro. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny, like a third world person back then in Vietnam, even they understood the concept of money and he didn't, right? So that's what it was like back then. But we're now storing value in networks. That's why the game's changing. So Uncle Peter Schiff, I think, is a fantastic tale, friend, so we can relate to this. Like, why can he see contrarian stuff like this, but then, for example, in Bitcoin, he can't? Well, it is what it is, man. You're dinosaur out. The new world is just digital. And yeah, we're storing value in things that exist on the internet. They're networks. But it is a mind truck, isn't it? Because, you know, from his perspective, he's like, and looking at him, he's like, okay, Bitcoin, you're just a logo. Ethereum, you're just a logo. I don't use any of you. You're there, therefore you're worth zero. I mean, good luck to that, friends. I mean, like, just because you don't like basketball cards, right, doesn't mean that that most expensive basketball card isn't going to be worth $8 million, you know? Or just because maybe you don't like the desert, the Dubai penthouses, they don't have to sell it to you for 300 grand, right? They're worth like 30 million. You know what I mean? Just because you don't like it. So that's why I want you to have this perspective, even when like, you know, Uncle Peter Schiff can see what's going on with Trump and all these other things. Just because you're contrarian doesn't mean like it's definitely always going to work or you can understand everything. Also, shout out to my friend, Mr. Kryptonite. This guy has the biggest nuts in politics. Can Australia please borrow him for a while? He really does actually put all these other politicians to shame. It's kind of funny because he's open about it. By the way, I like Trump making money off crypto because he'll defend it. Right. Look what happened to property, by the way. No government in the world wants to let their property crash. Why? Because every politician has like, you know, investment places out here, right? So they want to defend it. So that's what we want in crypto. We want everybody to own property, digital property, okay, over time. So we can basically get DCA forced money into it over time. And then we have our $100 trillion industry, hopefully one day. Now, funny enough, friends, on this news, the S&P 500, remember, this is the futures session. See this little green daily candle? It did actually do a bit of this pop move up. It's kind of funny, friends. So Donald Trump says, oh, no, I don't like you, Europe. And he's like, oh, wait, I do like you. We're going to delay it. So he's just doing part of these negotiations. You can actually see his tactic now. So first, he comes in really, really, really hard. It's typical business stuff. He comes in really hard. And then he just waits and does nothing. And then he waits for their response. And if he starts liking to hear what they have to say, he's like, you know what? We'll give you a bit more time, I think. We'll extend it till July 9th, then we'll come back to the table. So it basically gives them time to think about a sweet deal out here. It's exactly what he's done with China. It's kind of funny. Even Binance CZ friend, my friend CZ said it in his interview, remember? When he says, like, it's all political negotiation stuff out here. It's kind of funny. I want to show you this tweet from Rani Boonuna from Crypto Man Ran. How many tokens will you hold through the next bear market and into the next cycle? What are they? Now, see, friends, I know crypto bands have got such a bad reputation, man. Like, they're so mercenary. And, like, you know, it is what it is, friends. Look, I'm not going to say I accept what's going on, okay? Because, I mean, who the hell am I? But I can honestly see why they do it. All right, I told you. All right, they have like 100 employees. They have mouths to feed. Unfortunately, it's very mercenary, right? It's ups and downs. But here's another thing, friends. I know Ran, he gets excited when candles go up. He naturally gets very excited. So it's tough, man. It's not like he's secretly always like, you know, dumping. I know there's a lot of things going on there, but it is tough as well. You know why? Because this whole industry, friends, we know like, what are even fundamentals, man? Things going up and down, and network effects, you can move them left and right. You can just click a button and leave. It becomes really tough. But I guess buried within that, you got nice questions like this, which I've just pulled out. That's a high value alpha question, by the way. And you're like, whoa. Yeah, but you have to sift through 400,000 stuff of like, you know, things not working. So ask yourself, which tokens will you hold through the next bear market? You don't want to hold any. I know you don't. You don't even want to hold Bitcoin. You just want to buy it at the bottom. Okay, so maybe the market changes how has perspective of this. But now you can see why, friends. I actually answered the question. And you want to talk about if that was a high value question, I've got the highest of high value alphas as a response. So remember, friends, I've told you there's two big macro cyclical forces that impact crypto. One of them is the global M2 going up or down. The other one's a business cycle. Business cycle, we can't control. Just going to happen. Okay, when it goes up, altcoins go up. Forget that part. Focus on the global M2. In our bear market, global M2 liquidity goes down and then it starts to recover, all right? When it goes down, everybody wants US dollars, the world reserve currency. It's 85% of world trading volume. When global M2 starts to go up, people get into Bitcoin because they're printing excess money units, right? So that's why I thought, I wonder if Richard Hart, who is a visionary with a capital V, I wonder if he's going to do something with pWBTC, the people's Bitcoin. Because it's more scarce, it's more rare than the Blackrock BTC. And I wonder if he's going to peg it. I wonder if he's going to use his own Bitcoin to peg it. If the guy's got a crap load of Bitcoin, like I wonder. And you might say, but Somi, does he have enough Bitcoin to peg it? Well, man, he owns at least 30% of pWBTC. I don't know how much he owns. So he would probably have enough. Okay, so And look, by the way, these are just rumors. He could own zero. I don't know, okay? I like it. I'm long. This is it. This is the price. Oh, man, by the way, this is a very, very, very nice price action here. So, yeah, all the way to $100,000. The thing is, I'm always looking at the pWBTC to pDAI ratio, but don't worry about this one. Like, no one gives a crap anymore. You know what I mean? Let me worry about stuff like that. If this starts to go up, you got to think about what would be the plan. Well, I'm just guessing, right? Remember, we have PulseX, friends. PulseX have yield farms. In a bear market, there's nothing to do with your Bitcoin except hold. But what if his pWBTC on PulseChain, what if that's pegged to the Blackrock BTC? So it goes up and down with it. And then what if there was a yield farm where you have the pWBTC bonded with the wrapped BTC? Imagine there's a yield farm for it and you earn ink. Okay. Why would that be powerful? It's because now Richard is giving a use case to Bitcoin where you can earn yield on it and the price stays the same. It's matching the price. That would be one way to get liquidity from BTC holders who are doing nothing with it, right? Because remember, what does everybody want to do in a bear market, friends? Everybody wants to hold Bitcoin, don't they? Because everything's going to zero. But what about the stable coins? Well, that's the magic one, right? So if pDAI can somehow, I don't know how, friends. I don't know how it can get to $1. I don't know if it can get to $1. I don't know. What I do like, though, is this thing is 35x to 10 cents, man. You think I'll give a shit about $1 right now? Okay? It's 35x from here to 10 cents. So you can decide about whether you like it or not. I don't give a crap. But that's why I've told you here, man, like, you know, pWBTC. So remember, Rand asks, what tokens would you hold in a bear market? Well, if you're holding pWBTC, that's the Bitcoin part. If you're holding pDAI and somehow it's pegged to $1, my gosh. Then you use the pDAI to buy the risk on assets in the bear market, which are Richard Heart core coins. Wouldn't that be perfect, friends? Like right here. Then you could accumulate Pulse, Hex, Ink, even Ink, you know, speculate that, PulseX. Then, and now slap on that a Richard Heart wallet. The fart wallet. Imagine you have a fart wallet there. So you have, literally, he's got everything. That's why I told you, it's a neo-religion. We're literally watching a neo-religion being made. Okay, right now it's a cult. But he's got all of it there. That's why it's important, friends, like when you look at this, I know he doesn't look like right now. It feels like he got scammed. You've been waiting 4 years, we're all offside, but like we're lucky that the dude is capable of even putting this together. You know, because in Ethereum, you've got like 17 geniuses and they're all doing their own thing. And somehow they've all got to connect together. But Richard Heart is just taking all the best stuff, he's putting it all together, right? I mean, like, for example, look at Uniswap, friends. Unisoy still don't have the buy and burn fee switch put on, bro. What are you doing? Do you know they hit 3 trillion volume? Do you know that? Do you want, I'm going to cry now. Do you know what, friends? I'm not even going to tell you this. I'm not going to tell you this, but do you want to do 0.05% of 3 trillion? Do you want to know how much buy pressure that Uni token should have had extra? Let's do it right now. 0.05 divided by 100 times 3,000 million billion trillion. Oh my God. Is that right? Oh my God. Like, you fucking losers. That is $1.5 billion of buy pressure that should have been bought into the Uni token that they've missed out on. Can you believe that? $1.5 billion of cash. That's, you know, the OA sacrifice, friends. You know how we all dream of it hitting, if Ethereum hits $10,000, the OA would have 1.6 billion. It's around this number and rotated in. Uni would have already had it rotated in. Let me just show you, man, you guys, bro, just fire all of you fucking bug-eating scum. Friends, these people, let me just show you where Uni should be. Let's type in Uni shit. Where is Uniswap? Bro, friends, the whole market cap of this piece of junk is, look at this, Uniswap. You are at 3.7 billion market cap. You know, friends, you know if they had that much buy pressure, do you want to know how big it would be? It would be up here. it would literally be as big as XRP, BNB, and it would literally be the realest of real DeFi token utilities in the world. It's literally got the highest volume, the biggest mind share, the biggest brand, and it would have an auto buy and burn. That's what they missed out on. You know, one of the managers at Uniswap Labs in New York City, she's ex-Blackrock. You know that? Ah, wasted potential, man. And yeah, it makes me snap. It does make me snap. That's why when I say PulseX is a better version of Unisoy, I really do mean it, okay? Richard Hart like, hey, let's put a buy and burn. Don't forget what Uniswap did, okay? Don't forget what they did, okay? They threatened them. Uniswap went and then ratted on the whole industry. The SEC took them in. They gave all our information to them, how it works. And then when the SEC realized, because the US Fed, that crypto wasn't going to zero, they hit the panic button. Then the US Fed, the banks, said, screw Uniswap, go sue Uniswap. Because they thought, because Uniswap's the biggest DEX, right? They thought if they sued Uniswap, it could make all of crypto go to zero and get scared again. But we didn't. And that's when they hit the emergency panic button, okay? And then Uniswap will basically kick to the curb. So it's kind of funny, like, it's literally 3 years of wasted potential of buy and burn. You know that? Literally 3 years. There you go, $1.5 billion of cash. Now, you're probably wondering, where did that go to? Shitty LP providers that don't do anything with it. They basically freaking rug the industry, go send it to Coinbase and dump anyway. Oh, man. So that's what happens, friends. And you want to know the real reason why that happened? It's because Gaten Adams made like $500 million. That's why. Okay, because he made Unisoy. Remember, he literally made Uniswap. They gave him a $100,000 grant or something. He was literally in his underwear, probably poop stained, eating meat pies. He made Uniswap. The first allocation was from Vitalik. I think they gave him like 20 grand or something. He just coded it. So that's a problem, friends. Yes, Richard Hart, I get it, man. It's controversial. But isn't it nice when you have a billionaire who doesn't give a shit about making $100 million, who's trying to be a trillionaire? Isn't it nice now? Yes, it is. Look what happened to Uniswap. Gaten Adams, he's like, oh, I have poop-stained underwear. I used to be worth $100,000 net worth. Now I have a $500 million payout. See yas. Thank you. Now I'm going to play it super safe. Let's get a New York office. Let's hire a Blackrock employee. That chick. Let's not put a buy and burn. Let's not piss off any of the banks. There you go. Who suffers? The token holders. So there you go, friends. That's why it's a tough game, isn't it? And that's why we have the highest value content in crypto here. Who else is going to tell you that, by the way? If you're listening to Bankless or the Twink Brothers or Incest Answers, right? Or Crapto, they're not telling you this information, okay? They're saying, and now a word from our sponsor. Come and do this leverage trade, even though you got a 1% win rate. Don't bet too much money. Anyway, that's what you're hearing most of the time. So we're on the right path. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get the highest pump or anything, but see, friends, this is the whole cycle, man. It's tough. So in the bear markets, they always say hang around. You know, Crypto Kobe and other people, they're like, oh, hang around because the opportunity will come. Yeah, but we're here, bro. We're like, okay, there are 17 booby trap doors and like 3 doors that aren't booby traps now. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that can just get you wrecked. And that's why it's tough, isn't it? You know, see, no one's even going to believe us unless the price goes up anyway, right? So right now, everyone thinks Richard Hart's stuff is a booby trap. But I tell you, the price goes up here, it's no longer a booby trap. Okay, but look what happens here. Now you have to pay 10x higher in price to when you realize, oh, it wasn't a booby trap. The other stuff was a booby trap. That's the game, friends. That's markets. That's why it's like easy. Like, oh, just pick the right stuff and hold forever. Think again, man. So, which one are you? Ask yourself. Buy low, sell high, or buy high, sell low? Which one are you? You know, friends, we've actually hit a point now. The highest value content in crypto is through the roof right now. I'm actually going to have to end the video. Catch you soon.